Discover Phut, the forgotten son of Ham, was his miraculous destiny hidden in God's plan? In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, the world was still young from its rebirth. The remnants of the old world, washed away by the great flood, lay behind as Noah and his sons stepped into the dawn of a new era. Amidst this new creation stood Phut, often overlooked, the son of Ham, awakening one dawn to witness the sun casting golden shadows over the rugged cliffs of his ancestral land Canaan. The salty sea breezes stirred memories of their family's covenant with Yahweh, a promise whispering through generations. The air crackled with anticipation, filled with the weight of divine calling and the legacy of the righteous. Phut, firm of stature and keen of spirit, felt a stirring within him, a fire ignited by the realization that he bore a heritage marked by both glory and struggle. From the heights of the cliffs, he gazed toward the meandering Nile, a river that would plait his descendants into the very fabric of history. Yet, uncertainty loomed like a storm cloud gathering on the horizon. Whispers of impending trial sent tremors through his heart, as the descendants of Cush and Mizraim threatened to rise, their ambitions draped in the shadow of greed and hunger for power. The peaceful beginnings were tangled in strife, and the darkness of enmity worked its way among neighbors who once sought harmony. Phut's heart broke for his people, who had dared to dream of a new beginning. Each threat that arose fueled his urgency, sending him to the cliffs to pray fervently to God. Yahweh, he implored, looking into the heavens. What is your will for this lineage? What hidden purpose lies amidst this turmoil? As he prayed, the stories of his grandfather Methuselah echoed in his mind, a keeper of truth amidst the wickedness of generations past. The memory ignited his spirit anew. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select All Notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. As Phut descended from his rocky perch, a stirring filled the air, as if the very winds were whispering promises woven into his destiny and that of his progeny. He gathered the tribes, their faces carved with the marks of hardship, and spoke with a voice full of conviction. We are not mere shadows beneath the giants around us. The same God who saved Noah can save us again. We carry the seeds of promise. As he spoke, their eyes flickered with hope, a rekindling of spirits long dulled by fear, yet, turmoil and trials still awaited them. Would Phut's bloodline rise to fulfill an extraordinary purpose within God's grand design? With each passing moment, anticipation brewed, weaving a tapestry of hope and uncertainty, inviting him to step further into God's revelation. The unfolding saga of Phut and his kin had just begun, the echoes of destiny stirring like the dawn's light upon the land, urging them onward into the divine unknown. What battles lay ahead? And would they emerge victorious, fulfilling the greater narrative of redemption written before the foundations of the earth? And it came to pass that as the sun sank low upon the horizon, staining the skies with hues of crimson and gold, Phut led the tribes in a day of remembrance. They gathered to recount the stories of their ancestors, invoking the strength of their forebears Noah, Shem, and the promises seated in the covenant of Abraham. The warmth of their unity ignited a fire within them, urging them to stand firm against the storms that sought to uproot their faith. The elders, with their silvered hair and wise eyes, spoke of the struggles they had endured, their stories filled with lessons of endurance amidst trials. One elder, a man named Kenan, stood and proclaimed with a voice resonant with authority, "Let us not forget the word of Yahweh spoken to us, I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you." Genesis 12 verse 2. Our trials serve to test our resolve, as gold is refined in the fire. As the evening deepened, a shadow of unease settled among the crowd. Phut sensed it keenly, an impending danger that loomed just beyond their sanctuary. In prayer, he sought clarity, his heart heavy with the weight of responsibility for his kin. "O God of the covenant," he pleaded, "show me a sign. Do not let us falter in the face of those who seek to bring us harm." Reveal your plan to me, that I may lead my people in righteousness. That night, in a vision, a great eagle descended from the heavens, its wings stretching wide, casting shadows over the gathering. Phut beheld the eagle, majestic and awe-inspiring, pulsing with divine light. A voice, like thunder yet soft as a whisper, reverberated through his very being. Phut, arise. A great conflict approaches, yet within you lies the heart of a lion. Lead your people with strength, for I have marked your lineage for a purpose beyond measure. Phut, trembling at the depth of this revelation, knelt in reverence, understanding that his smallness did not diminish God's plan. Yahweh, my spirit is your servant, he responded. Strengthen my resolve and grant me wisdom as I prepare for what is to come. As dawn crept across the land, Phut gathered the leaders of each tribe. The ways of our forefathers have taught us the strength of unity and courage, he reminded them. Together we shall stand against the forces that will rise against us. We are not alone, the God of Israel is with us. With hearts inflamed by faith, the leaders began to strategize, seeking ways to fortify their borders, to strengthen their bonds. Phut directed them to seek out new alliances, casting nets of friendship toward neighboring tribes who had once been foes. In our protection and preparation lies the defense of our heritage, he declared passionately, yet, amid their plans, the whispers of betrayal began to stir. From the shadows emerged emissaries of Cush, bearing messages of deceit and allure. Come, join us in our celebrations, lay down your weapons, and mingle with our kind, they proposed, draping their words in the silk of temptation. But Phut, ever wise and vigilant, cautioned his people. Beware. For the enemy often cloaks itself in ambrosial sweetness, seeking to lead us astray. Day by day, tension mounted, each sunset resembling the fervor for the trials ahead. The faithful awaited a divine sign, while in silent corners, doubt cast its long shadows. Could they endure the oncoming storm, and would Phut's lineage truly rise to fulfill God's mysterious purpose? As the time for reckoning approached, Phut remained resolute, anchored to the promises of heaven. The Lord has not forgotten his covenant, he assured those who wavered. With unwavering faith and divine whispers guiding him, he prepared to face the trials that lay ahead, knowing that within every shadow lurked the light of hope, and just as the horizon was tinged with the precious light of dawn, a stirring cry echoed through the land. The eagles had returned, soaring higher than before, heralding that God's sovereign plan was set to unfold. A monumental clash awaited them, destined to illuminate the path of the righteous and secure the legacy of Phut amidst the unfolding tapestry of history. As the first light of dawn illuminated the camp, Phut rose early, compelled by the urgency of his mission. The air was thick with anticipation, and beneath its surface lay a current of unease. It was then that he called the elders to gather once more, seeking wisdom in their counsel. Brothers, he began, if we are to withstand the tumult that approaches, we must immerse ourselves in prayer and supplication, invoking the God of our forebears. The elders nodded, their countenances grave, and together they knelt. They cried out to Yahweh, their voices rising like sweet incense to the heavens. As they sought divine guidance, a profound stillness fell upon them, as if the very breath of God hovered close at eye. In the midst of their fervent prayers, Kenan, the elder, was overcome with a sense of urgency. Phut, he said with a resolute tone, it is written, call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me. Psalm 50 verse 15. Surely, this is a time when we must stand firm, trusting in his deliverance. Phut nodded in agreement, feeling the weight of his leadership. Then let us act. We must send forth swift messengers to warn the tribes, to rally our allies before the enemy's hand is heavy upon us. As they spoke, a hawk cried out from above, a sound reverberating like a portent through the air. Unbeknownst to them, the emissaries of Cush were drawing near, their motives cloaked in deception. Days of feasting had given way to whispered plots beneath the moonlight. Yet, Phut remained steadfast, unyielding in his spirit. Within hours, their messengers returned with news that sent shivers through Phut's people. The emissaries have taken root among us, sowing seeds of distrust, one of the messengers reported. They charm with feasts but carry daggers in their hearts. Phut summoned the tribes, his voice clear and strong. We stand at a crossroads, he declared, and the time has come to choose between the allure of shadows and the light of truth. Our strength lies in our unity. Let none forget the words of our forefather Abraham, who dared to believe the promises of Yahweh. The people responded with a cry of affirmation, their spirits ignited. We are with you, Phut. We trust in the Lord's deliverance. Yet doubts ran deep, and as the sun reached its zenith, Phut could see the fissures in their resolve. That night, he contemplated the vision of the great eagle once more. O Lord, he lamented in the quiet of his tent, show me a sign of your faithfulness, that I may infuse courage into the hearts of my kin. In answer, the skies darkened, and a tempest brewed, not of mere wind and rain but of divine authority. Lightning illuminated the heavens, and the voice of Yahweh resounded among the clouds, Phut. My faithful servant, do not fear, for I am with you. As I have delivered your ancestors, so too shall I deliver you. Stand firm, and your enemies shall scatter before you. Filled with renewed conviction, Phut sprang to his feet, a fire ignited within. He knew that the impending clash would not merely be for land or power but a testament to the faithfulness of God among his people. Gather the tribes, he proclaimed, for we are not just warriors, but the chosen of the Most High. And while the tribes descended in fervor, a shadow echoed from the borders, revealing the lurking presence of the Cushites, plotting their wicked advance. With hearts united and a divine call echoing within, Phut and his people readied themselves for the confrontation that would test their faith and loyalty. Thus, the stage was set, with the forces of righteousness poised to collide with the craftiness of the enemy. Would they remember the heart of the Lord's covenant amidst the storm? And what now lay hidden within the promise made to Phut that in the clashing of nations, the true nature of God's sovereign plan would be revealed, compelling them to rise as the bearers of his glory? As twilight descended and the tents of Phut's people thrummed with energy, a solemn hush enveloped the assembly. The air bore witness to fervent prayers rising like smoke to the heavens, as Phut stood before the tribes, his heart a beacon of unwavering faith. Children of the covenant, he called, his voice resonating with authority, the Lord has spoken. We are poised at the edge of battle, and we must recall the testament of our forefathers. With each word, the crowd drew closer, their eyes filled with determination as Phut recounted the stories of their lineage, of Abraham who journeyed in faith, of Isaac who was bound yet delivered, and Jacob who wrestled with the angel until he received the blessing. Have we not seen his hand upon us? Phut implored, appealing to their shared history, have we not tasted the life-giving waters of his promises? The people stirred, their spirits galvanizing as echoes of their ancestors' victories rang in their ears. Then, Kenan stepped forth once more, his voice like a clarion call, let our hearts be steadfast. For we know that our God is a consuming fire, Hebrews 12 verse 29. Our covenant with him is unbreakable, and in his name, we shall stand against the tide of deceit. Just then, a fierce wind swept through the camp, as if the very heavens were responding to their fervor. Phut raised his arms, urging silence, and for a moment all fell still. In the stillness, a glance shared between him and Kenan spoke volumes. It bore the weight of trust and expectation, acknowledging the spiritual battle that lay ahead. Let us not be weary in well-doing, Phut encouraged his brethren, Galatians 6 verse 9, indeed, we shall reap if we do not lose heart. The tribes murmured their agreement, voices building into a chorus of resilience. As the last slivers of sunlight faded, Phut summoned the leaders of the clans. We must position ourselves wisely, he instructed with keen discernment. Let half of our men take position atop the hill, watching for the movements of Cush. The others shall remain within our encampment, ready to defend our sacred ground. The elders nodded, appreciating the wisdom in his command, and as they dispersed, Phut took a moment of solitude to seek the face of the Lord once more. Gaze cast upward, he murmured, Father of our fathers, grant me favor this night. In you, I take refuge, let me never be put to shame. While he prayed, a low sound began to echo, growing ever closer, the sound of drums in the distance, the unmistakable cadence of the Cushite battalion. Phut's heart raced, yet he felt an unearthly peace descend upon him like a shroud. His spirit instinctively reached for God's promise, as if to recall the words of the prophet Isaiah, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper," Isaiah 54 verse 17. Into the darkness, he called out to his people, rallying them with fervent declaration. Do not let fear take hold. This battle is not ours but the Lord's. For he will go before us, and our enemies shall fall by the wayside. And in that moment of utter unity and purpose, a light flared within Phut's soul, a realization that their confrontation would not be merely to safeguard their families or their possessions, but to honor the name of Yahweh among the nations. The enemy would bear witness, for the Lord's glory would be displayed. Then it happened, a brilliant flash illuminated the horizon, as if the heavens themselves parted, and the voice of Yahweh echoed once more, "Your faith has brought you to this hour. Stand firm, and witness my deliverance." Yet, even as the people cheered, a shadow lingered just beyond the horizon, a foreboding reminder that through this very struggle, the hidden threads of divine destiny wove tighter still. Would they yet unveil the true purpose of their trial? The sovereign plan of God loomed large, beckoning them toward a destiny far greater than they could foresee. As the first stars twinkled in the firmament, the drums of the Cushite battalion reverberated ominously, a sound both foreign and striking as it distanced further into the night. Phut stood with a clenched jaw and resolute heart, sensing the urgency of the hour. "Brothers," he declared, the fervor of his spirit igniting their own, "prepare your hearts and minds, for the time of trial is upon us. We shall not cower, instead, we shall rise with faith like our forefathers." As the assembled warriors nodded in agreement, a palpable tension formed in the air. It was tinged with the fragrance of expectancy. Kenan stepped forth again, armored spirit reflecting the light of his faith. "Let us draw inspiration from the stories of our fathers. As the Lord parted the Red Sea for Moses, so too shall he carve a path through our enemies. His hand is not shortened that it cannot save." At this, silent fervor wrapped around the crowd, and they began chanting, "The Lord is our strength and shield. In his name, we shall prevail." The very ground beneath them seemed to respond to their unity, vibrating with a power not from earth but from heaven. Phut turned, gazing up the hill, "Stand ready. For as we await the dawn, our deliverance shall come. Let the watchman observe with keen eyes, for our victory lies not in numbers, but in the strength of the Lord our God." Night deepened, swallowing the light of the day, and the chill of anticipation settled over the encampment. A sudden rustle among the branches broke the stillness, and Phut raised a hand, his heart racing, eyes darting. Could it be the enemy? "Watchman! Stay alert!" He called sharply. In that moment, an angelic figure emerged from the shadows, radiant and fearsome. "Do not fear," it interjected with a voice like thunder, "for the Lord's presence is among you, and his mighty hand shall guide you. Stand firm in faith, for this night shall reveal his glory." With that proclamation, a wave of courage swept through the hearts of Phut's people, banishing doubt. Phut dropped to his knees in reverence, whispering words of gratitude. "O Lord, thank you for your messenger. We trust in your promise." Then, at the break of dawn, a powerful voice reverberated across the valley, piercing the tired night. "Awake, O people of Yahweh! For this day, you shall witness a great deliverance." The warriors assembled under the leadership of Phut, hearts ablaze with unyielding resolve. Each man grasped his weapon, eyes lit with hope and expectation, as the fierce winds began to swirl, billowing through the camp with prophetic urgency. "Onward!" Phut shouted, emboldened. "Let us march forward, for the Lord who goes before us shall create a way where there seems to be none." With that, the company surged towards the confrontation, arms raised in victory as if holding already the promise yet to be fulfilled. As they reached the crest of the hill, Phut beheld the swarming multitude of the Cushites, their banners flapping defiantly in the wind. A profound hush fell upon the battlefield, the air was thick with impending fate. "People of the covenant," Phut turned to face his brethren, "remember that our battle is not won through mere might but through the faith that lives within us. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3 verse 5. Yet even as he spoke, a tremor of unease rippled through him as he recalled the shadow that lurked beyond their horizon. What did the Lord reveal amidst this confrontation? What divine threads were being pulled toward a startling culmination, one that would shake the foundations of their very existence? In that instant, an ominous darkness began to embolden itself amongst their ranks, as the clouds roiled above the battlefield. For they stood on the precipice of spiritual reckoning, where God's sovereign plan would soon unveil a destiny entwined in the heart of battle itself. As the tension reached its zenith, a revelation whispered on the wind, "Will you find strength in me when the day of reckoning comes?" As the sun began its ascent, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, Phut stood resolute, a beacon of unwavering faith amidst the fearsome array of warriors. "Heed my words," he called out, his voice echoing across the valley. "Today, we confront not just flesh and blood, but principalities and powers that seek to sway our hearts from the one true God." His brethren regarded him with deepening conviction, their hearts stirred by the call to transcend the temporal and grasp the eternal. The roar of the Cushite forces grew louder, as if to drown out the very voice of the Most High. Yet Phut lifted his face toward heaven, the winds now swirling around them, carrying with it the promise of unseen battles being waged in the heavenly realms. "Remember the words of our ancestors, for they are as a compass to our souls." Kenan interjected, brandishing his sword. "Did not David say, 'Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God', Psalm 20 verse 7? Let our faith be our battle cry." Phut nodded, bolstered by Kenan's reminder. "Indeed. The Lord, whose arm is not shortened, shall fight for us. Let us approach this day unafraid, for it is He who goes before us, shaking the very mountains." At that moment, a thunderous sound descended from the heavens, as though the Lord himself were rumbling towards them. The ground quaked, and the clouds darkened, cloaking the battlefield in foreboding shadows. Phut's mind raced, an urgency gripping his heart as he sensed the deepening spiritual conflict. Would their faith transcend this darkness? "Watchmen!" he yelled. "What do you see?" From among the vigilant guards, one responded, his voice trembling yet resolute. "I see a multitude gathered, fierce and prideful. But behold, the heavens open, and I see the angelic hosts descending upon us." A murmur rippled through the crowd, a mixture of fear and awe. The weight of divine presence layered thick in the air amidst the clamor of war. Phut closed his eyes, seeking the guidance of the Almighty. "O Lord of hosts, guide us in this hour. For we know not how to proceed, but you are our shield and fortress." As Phut prayed earnestly, he was enveloped in a brilliant light, and a prophetic vision encompassed him. He saw their foes clad in darkness, their hearts hardened against the truth, yet through this darkness appeared a flicker of hope, a small remnant shining brighter than gold amidst the shadows. "Phut, son of Ham," a voice echoed from the depths of his spirit, solemn yet rich with promise. "Through your lineage, I have woven a tapestry of deliverance. Your ancestors walked in faith, and now their legacy rests upon your shoulders. Remember the covenant made with Noah, for through this very moment, nations shall see my glory revealed." The vision intensified, unveiling threads of history and future intertwined, the hearts of men and the fates of nations from every corner of the earth converging here upon this battleground. Phut's heart raced. The Lord has a plan that transcends our understanding. Let faith arise, he proclaimed, emboldened by the revelation. With renewed vigor, Phut rallied the warriors around him, their swords gleaming in the dawning light, igniting the dawn with hope. "Forward, in faith! For it is not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord of hosts." Zechariah 4 verse 6. As they surged toward their enemies, a voice called out from the shadows. "What is this plan, and where will it lead?" The very air trembled with anticipation as Phut, eyes ablaze with divine assurance, replied, "We step forth into the unknown, for our destiny is etched in his promise." As the two armies collided, the winds howled with the clash of swords and the cries of men. But amidst the chaos, the question lingered like a sacred mantra, echoing over the tumult: will you recognize the hidden destiny of your lineage, and walk forth in the faith of the one who delivers? And as the two forces engaged with fervor, the clang of metal against metal resounded like thunder, fierce and relentless. Phut led the charge, his heart aflame with zeal, urging his brethren onward. Onward, my brothers! Our ancestor Abraham trusted in the promise, and our forefather Noah, too, found favor in the eyes of God. Let us not falter now. The warriors surged forth, emboldened by Phut's words, their battle cries echoing against the mountains. As the valiant hearts pressed on, a vision of their forebears danced in Phut's mind. He recalled the covenant seals laid centuries ago, promises that transcended time, whispering of mighty deeds yet to unfold. The Cushite forces, a perpetual tide of ferocity, seemed relentless. Yet Phut felt a swift surge of hope course through him as he remembered the words of Isaiah: when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Isaiah 59 verse 19. This truth settled in his core like a rock, immovable amidst the clamor of war. Look! Kenan shouted amid the battle's din. The angelic hosts are drawing near. They are as flames of fire, a wall of protection around us. Indeed, Phut could see them now, the radiant figures shimmering with the light of the Holy Presence, a divine army against the combatants of darkness. He could feel the air thick with sanctity, each breath a testament of faith, and as they fought, Phut gained ground, striking down the enemies who advanced. Yet amid the chaos, a stirring occurred. From the rear of the Cushite army, shadows slithered through the ranks. Phut paused for a moment, sensing the distinct presence of a dark sorcerer, commanding fear with a mere gesture, eyes glinting with malice. What trickery is this? Phut muttered, his heart racing. He lifted his sword toward the heavens. O Lord, this battle belongs to you. Reveal your strength, and let the enemies of your people be scattered. Suddenly, the winds howled, and the very skies opened, the sun piercing through the gloom in a spectacular display of glory. From the convergence of light and darkness came a voice echoing from the heavens: this battle is my domain. Fear not, for I am with you. The atmosphere trembled with the sacred resonance of divine authority. The sorcerer, caught off guard by the divine revelation, faltered. As the shadows withdrew, the Cushite forces quaked in their spirits, a severe dread washing over them. Phut turned to his brethren, their faces illuminated by faith and dawning hope. Behold! The Lord fights with us. Courage, brothers! Our God is a consuming fire. Hebrews 12 verse 29, he declared. Yet, just as victory seemed imminent, a chilling thought arose in his mind. What if this battle was only a fraction of a greater plan, a singular event in the orchestration of God's timeline? Will you then acknowledge the true nature of your lineage, that this day is but the beginning, a stepping stone towards a purpose yet unveiled? Phut pondered aloud, his voice a soft affirmation against the chaos. This thought cast a shadow over his heart. Could they grasp the fullness of God's grand narrative? As the battle raged on, the sword in his hand felt both heavy and light, as if holding the weight of destiny itself. And there, amidst the remnants of the clash, Phut grasped a profound truth: God's plan was indeed mysteriously woven through their struggle. Let the battle be turned, O Lord. For the glory of your name goes beyond victory or defeat. Reveal the nations your power, that your covenant may manifest through us. Phut shouted, aware now that they were but instruments in a much larger symphony, and in that moment, the skies roared with the promises of the Almighty, the winds swirling as if in agreement. The armies stood poised on the precipice of revelation, a tapestry of history yet to be revealed. What was forged in the darkness of conflict awaited its unveiling, and in this hour, the sovereign plan awaited to illuminate the hearts of the weary. Will you see this war not as an end, but as a beginning in the grand design of redemption? As the battle thundered on, the air thick with the scent of sweat and determination, Phut felt the intensity rise, not only within the clashing swords but also within his own spirit. The echoes of his brethren's war cries melded with the sacred assurance he sensed from above. Victory was within grasp, yet a still, small voice beckoned for deeper insight. "Brothers," Phut called out, raising his sword aloft. "Take heart. Our toil is not in vain. The angel of the Lord encamps around us, even as his spirit strengthens our resolve." His voice rolled like a wave upon the shores of their weary souls, infusing them with renewed vigor. In the midst of the strife, Kenan, emboldened by the divine presence, shouted, "Look to the horizon. The shadows retreat before the brightness of his glory." Indeed, the Cushite ranks began to falter, the might of their sorcery breaking under the light of truth and faith. Yet, Phut knew their deliverance was not solely a triumph of swords but a testament to the power of the covenant. "Remember the promises of God made to our ancestors," he continued, his voice rising above the cacophony. "To Abraham, he promised countless descendants, and to Moses, a land flowing with milk and honey. He is true to his word, let us be steadfast in his strength." With each swing of his sword, Phut felt the weight of not just his identity as a warrior, but as a chosen vessel within a far-reaching narrative. In that moment, a conviction blossomed in his heart. What if this clash held deeper implications, a divine unveiling not only for themselves but for the generations to come? As his sword met the enemies before him, he called upon the memory of the covenant made on more than one mountaintop. "O Lord, speak to us this day. Reveal to us the purpose that we might understand our place in history, for all the earth cries out for redemption." The war surged around him, yet his soul found a paradoxical peace, resting in the assurance of the divine plan. But as the darkness scattered, the sorcerer, now disheveled, held forth a twisted staff. A moment's calm settled over the battlefield as he shouted, words dripping with venom, "Do you think your God will deliver you? Are you not but sons of Adam, cursed and complacent in your sin?" His taunts curled in the air, attempting to shroud their hope in despair. Phut locked eyes with the sorcerer, every pulse in his being demanding to respond. "Your tongue speaks of curses, yet our lineage is blessed. For God himself is our shield and buckler. In him, I find my strength." In that defiance, a brilliant light enveloped Phut, illuminating the ground beneath his feet, and the very heavens roared in agreement. His promise goes beyond the battlefield. He is the Alpha and Omega, he cried, the sound reverberating through the air like a trumpet call. Suddenly, in the heartbeat of that moment, clarity broke upon Phut's understanding. The battle at hand transcended the clashing of swords, it was a clash of kingdoms. The hearts of nations hung in the balance, and this day would resonate through the ages. "Shall we not rise as a reflection of his glory?" Phut shouted, his voice imbued with divine purpose. "This battle is just the beginning. The tapestry of his will is being woven. Not mere warriors are we, but the architects of his promise." As the armies witnessed his words, an awakening stirred within them, transforming them from mere fighters into vessels of God's sovereign will. The battle raged on, but an unmistakable shift began, and as the Cushite forces wavered, a great silence fell. Phut sensed that this was a pivotal hour. Unbeknownst to them, victory could lead to a revelation beyond mere conquest. What if this war is not an end, but the very prelude to the unfolding of God's grand design? He whispered, his heart racing with anticipation. How often have we labored without perceiving the divine tapestry of which we are a part? With eyes fixed onward, Phut stood resolute, aware now that their struggle hinged on more than just survival. It heralded the dawn of a new chapter in God's eternal plan, one that they had yet to fully grasp. "Brothers," he declared anew, "let us advance, for the next step is ours to take. Will you journey with me into the unfolding of his purpose, through the shadows into the light?" As they surged forward, an urgent question hung in the air, issuing forth with a sense of divine mystery. What greater destiny awaits us, hidden in the heart of our Creator's design? As Phut urged his brethren onward, the air crackled with an intensifying anticipation, as if the heavens themselves held their breath. The Cushite forces, though fierce in their sorcery, began to falter under the weight of divine presence. Their resolve crumbled, and fear swept through their ranks like a wind that rends the clouds. Then Phut raised his voice with greater fervor, "Behold! The Lord is our banner. He shall command the victory." And as he spoke, bursts of light illuminated the battlefield, as if the sun itself had chosen to fight alongside them, casting every shadow into retreat. The armies surged, emboldened by the miraculous sights and Phut's unwavering faith. The sound of clashing steel met with shouts of praise. "For the Lord is good, his mercy endures forever," chanted Kenan, echoing the words of the psalmist in unison with those gathered, their voices rising like incense before the throne of God. Yet in that moment of fervor, Phut noted the blood-red sky bending under the weight of a graver mystery. Amidst the tumult, a thought took root in his heart: was this battle for them alone, or for something far greater? Focused on the sorcerer, who now trembled, Phut perceived that even the enemy could be approached with divine purpose. "You speak of curses," Phut thundered, his tone cutting through the clamor. "Yet your every breath is but a whisper against the roar of our God's glory. O sorcerer of lies, you will witness the hand of the Almighty today." With that declaration, Phut felt the stirring of an ancient promise kindling within him, that the nations would know of the one true God, the inheritor of every land, even the lands of the darkened heart. The sorcerer, once bold, now recoiled, gripping his staff as if it could stave off the impending doom. "Your God is but a myth. What power can a mere man hold against my forces?" He spat, his bravado faltering, his eyes wide with fear as he felt the ground tremble. Phut, undeterred, bore witness to a deeper truth. "It is not I who fight, but the God of Israel. As it is written, the battle is not yours, but God's." With conviction that mystified his understanding, he called upon the name of the Lord. In response, the sky opened and a thundering roar rolled forth, shaking the very foundations of the earth. Lightning split the air, striking the staff of the sorcerer, which splintered and fell from his grasp, a symbol of the false dominion crumbling beneath God's sovereign decree. When the dust settled, the battlefield stood still, and thus the armies did not pause for victory. They were overcome by a wave of holy awe. A feeling of reverence swept across their ranks. "This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes," Phut exclaimed, his heart racing, as he looked upon the faces of the defeated foe. Could it be, he pondered, that in this moment of divine intervention, the Lord was calling forth not just victory, but a revelation of his divine nature to the peoples of the earth? A greater calling than any sword could ever wield. With renewed zeal, Phut rallied his brothers. "Let us not revel in mere conquest. For beyond this day, a seed of faith is being sown. Nations will learn of his name. Generation after generation, they shall speak of how the Lord delivered us." As the soldiers gathered around Phut, a sense of divine purpose enveloped them, knitting their hearts with an urgency to declare his wonders lest they forget. The ever-present echo remained in the air, a question that stretched beyond mortal understanding. What would this revelation mean for the future of the earth, as God unveils his sovereign plan? Thus, the battle raged on, not just in flesh and blood, but in the unseen realms where destinies were crafted, where the very fabric of hope and purpose awaited its divine revealing.